Ladies and gentlemen, live from Santee, California, it's What the Podcast! I'm Ryan.
I'm John.
And together we are
Ryan and John.
On the couch this week, always, our producers, Olivia and Cara. A special guest, Tyler Tafolla.
Wow.
And now, What the Podcast?
Cara's not
Cara's in the booth.
Cara's
That's
in
all
the
right.
in the
booth.
booth.
Okay.
That was a very Golden Globes entrance, and I appreciate you doing that.
Of course.
Because-
well, you asked me to, so
You're
I will.
right. You're right.
Of course, I'll do whatever you
Well,
want. John.
I want to talk really. I want to jump in on a quick topic. The Golden Globes happened, in the last week since we've seen each other, and it was quite a Golden Globes. Let me tell you.
Wow. Tell me about it.
It was virtual, so you can imagine everyone was in their own home, kind of like we've been experiencing Zoom calls for the last year.
Yep.
It was a plunge in ratings. It only had 64% viewership than in previous Golden Globes. Only 6.9 million viewers only.
That's it.
But as far as TV standards go, not a great
You know
day.
what? Good.
Wow. That's
Good.
A bold
That's all I'm
statement.
going to say.
I will say Tina Fey and Amy Poehler hosted, and they really went in on the fact that the Hollywood Foreign Press is composed of no people of color. They made several jokes about it.
Really?
Yes, like really went hard, and it was good for them, and really kind of called out. And then, of course, Hollywood Foreign Press was like, we're working on it with no nondescript details.
Yep.
But before I go any further, I
Yes.
have to introduce our Hollywood guy in the studio today,
That's
Tyler
right.
Tafolla. Hey, Tyler.
I have been to Hollywood before.
Well, you're very Hollywood in my eyes, I would say.
Wow.
you.
Not in a bad way, in a
Wow.
good way. Like you're creating content
In
you're
the best
really cool.
way.
He's
In
very
the
Hollywood.
you're the good side of Hollywood.
You
But
are Hollywood.
thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Anybody that watches the show knows you've been on a number of things with us. So I don't think we have to give a full bio, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Friend of the family, yes. It's nice to meet all of you guys.
Yeah.
What's
yeah.
your name?
I'm
Always a
Tyler
pleasure.
Tafolla.
Wait, oh my gosh, the stars are aligning. There's 3 Tafollas in the
Whoa.
room.
The trifecta.
Whoa.
Wow.
What does this mean?
Don't
confirmed.
remind me.
Is this mean the world's
It
ending?
means nothing.
Anyways, give us a little bio for somebody who doesn't.
When 3 Tafoyas aligned in a room together.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
let's just pretend that nobody knows who you are. Come on,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
be
yeah.
honest. But tell us a little bit about you for somebody who maybe hasn't
course.
met you before.
Yes, I'm Tyler Tafolla. I am a writer and performer, as well as all-around party animal.
Yeah, I heard that about you actually. I've
Self-proclaimed.
heard a lot about that.
So I put that on my
Hype man.
resume.
It's a real problem.
Yeah.
kidding.
I'm the writer of 2 musicals, Scott
Right.
Robbins and the Traveling Show,
Yes.
and Seasons, a new musical song cycle.
My heart.
And I'm also a seasoned performer at SeaWorld San Diego for the last going on almost 10 years
Yeah.
now. So it's
Wow.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, happy to have you here, man. I mean, you're a friend of all your family, of half the crew here, and close friend of the rest of us.
it's easy to get in.
That's
yeah,
right.
so
We go way
it
back.
wasn't a tough sell. But do you watch something like the Golden Globes? Is this something you watch, or what award shows are you kind of?
Oh, not in the last year or two for
Yeah.
sure, just because of the state of everything.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a Tony Award viewer for sure because I love
we love the Tony.
my Broadway babies.
Your roots.
Your
I'll watch the Oscars. I'll watch. I've never watched the Emmys.
Me
but
either.
I'll watch the highlight reels later, just because
Yeah.
I usually.
What's
love
the other
what's going
major
on.
one? Academy Award? Or is that Oscar?
Emmys,
the
Grammys,
Oscars.
Oscars,
The Grammys,
Tonys. The Grammys are for
Grammys.
music.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something, John?
Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
I hate award shows.
Whoa.
Okay.
I dislike them immensely.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into that.
We're gonna get into it. I'm ready to get into it.
Back up.
But really quick, like you said, you're a performer, you're a creator, you're much more than just that. But I want to tell you about
my segues.
I
keep trying to say. I want to talk about it so bad.
We are going to talk about it, but
Continue,
I have a question for the room because at the Golden Globes the other night, let's see, his name is Daniel. Let me see. Let me get his real name. His full name. Daniel. It's Kaluuya.
Kaluuya.
You go ahead and give that a try.
Oh, is he?
He won Best Supporting Actor.
Yes.
And the best part is they're all on Zoom, so they're giving their speeches on Zoom.
Oh yeah.
He started his speech while on mute.
Yes.
So the question is,
I did see
what
that.
He's in Atlanta, right? Is that him?
No, he's in Get Out.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Main actor in Get Out.
He's
also
also
in
in
Atlanta. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I haven't watched.
started-
And he's in
I've only seen
the show he won for.
Yeah, what
Judas
was
and
it? Yes.
The
Judas
Messiah
and Black
And the
Messiah
Black
is what it
Messiah.
says.
Oh,
Didn't
I heard
see
that
it.
was really good.
It's still on my watch list.
But
Yeah.
literally 20 seconds of dead airtime.
Yeah.
He was talking, you could see him,
Yeah.
but you couldn't hear him. What if you were in that situation? What's your first line off of mute?
It's been fun, guys, and then I turn it off.
Sorry.
Zoom.
Oh man.
Gosh.
It's like that part in Forrest Gump when Forrest Gump makes this epic speech.
He's like, there's
And
a lot
then-
I'd like to
Yeah.
say about Vietnam.
And then they
like,
cut
pull
the sound.
Yeah.
And then only the people on stage hear his speech.
Yeah.
And so they're all in tears.
That was a great
by
speech,
the end.
man.
And he comes back at the very end. He's like, thank you.
stupid.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
my brain immediately goes to like the producer side of like we are paying for this airtime,
Yeah.
and we have to cut to commercial right after this. We
Well,
don't have time to like.
Right, to make up
I
for
wonder
it.
whose
Yeah.
fault it is. I mean, and from the reports, his response was when it finally clicked on, and it was somebody told him that he was on mute the whole time. He said his first words were, "You're doing me dirty." So I don't know
I did see that.
if it was he obviously didn't have it on mute. It was probably
So they must be muted, like not trusting themselves to mute and unmute themselves.
So they must be muting
So they're
them.
muting them while they're
It
still on the
sounded-
screen.
Interesting.
It sounded like there was this like scramble for like trying to fix something with like the actual people in the like with the studio audience.
Yeah.
theater.
It seemed like their sound was like messed up because it sounded like somebody was like trying to fix it. They're like, "You idiot!" Like something was like,
God.
like they were like trying to fix it.
That goes down into like the list of like award show mess ups. Like I'm thinking of like
Trash.
when Moonlight won over La La Land.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
They announced it before then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that was iconic.
Adita Menzel, or what did he call her? What did
Adele
Adele
Dazeem.
Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
It's
That's
like
so
and that's just like coming from that side of like entertainment world. It's like you work your way up to this point. You've put in 10, 15, 20 years of
Yes.
your life to get to this point where you can be, verified as an artist, and then
So,
Dude, that was my thought. I was like, that is just so upsetting. Like, could you imagine? Like, you win a Golden Globe and you don't even get the moment to like thank who you want to thank. Like, you can't even enjoy it.
yeah,
And it's
did
over
he have to
Zoom.
redo his? Did
I
he redo it,
mean,
or
He
did
just
he
picked up like.
Yeah, he picked it up.
Wherever.
I mean,
Yeah.
at this,
Like,
the
what
whole
do you-
thing was
like, what do you
thrown, and
do
they
at
already
that
give you
point?
such little time. I feel like
Yeah, that's what's so weird about it when they like play the
play you
music
off.
over them.
It's
Yeah.
really easy with Zoom. They just
Oh
go
my God.
pick them out.
you
Cut
guys
him
are
off.
you're just firing me up right now. I'm going to
gosh.
unleash.
Okay,
at some
go
point.
ahead and tell us what your beef
I heard-
with award shows is. Tell
Look.
us.
Take a deep breath.
It's
Yeah, you should really breathe through this.
John, I don't like award shows.
Okay.
I don't like them.
in general?
In general. Let's take out the pandemic element because
Okay.
that has really just charged me up even more. But it's just
Charge
for
me.
one, I learned recently is like you don't just get nominated for an award.
Yeah.
You have to do the full campaign.
For
Well,
your
you have to-
consideration.
The for your consideration thing.
Yeah.
What?
So the
And
Academy.
which show is
let's
this?
go for
the Oscars.
Let's
I
go
thought
for
it
the
was just
Oscars.
The
No,
Oscars,
that's
okay.
apparently it's for all of them.
Oh.
But
yeah.
the Academy says, okay, yeah, we are only going to nominate, certain works of art that are like to be considered.
Okay.
And to get considered by the Academy, you have
Sure.
to pay like a huge, like, can you look up what the?
It's like a full campaign.
it's
as
like
if you
thousands,
were
like tens of maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars. Maybe I'm exaggerating it.
I mean, I think, but at these celebrities level, like $1,000 is like $10, right? I mean,
right,
like...
at a celebrity level. So what if you're like a new creator, right? You're an up and coming. You're an indie film.
Movie.
It's your first movie. How the heck do you get nominated for an award when it is such a great movie?
So maybe it's the network that you're doing your movie like through. Like if you did a Netflix movie or something, maybe Netflix is popping for the the money to nominate
like
you.
the producers.
But
that's what I see more.
Let alone the hurdle of getting Netflix to back your
think
thing.
It's in Netflix best interest because then whatever movies make it to the Golden Globes or the Oscars get all this press because of it. So it's like, oh, the movies you missed.
Well, and Netflix wants to have a whole regime of awards.
Oh,
but that's my thing is like, so there's already this level of like not authenticity. It's like, no, it's not the best movies this year got nominated. It's the best in a certain, realm of movies, like the ones that got backed by the right people, that put up the money to get the nomination.
It's kind of crazy because like anybody could be in that category then, as long as you get the right backers, like.
So I wonder, like, because there's only 4 or 5 nominations in each category, so I imagine a lot of people submit for something like this. Do they only air the most notable ones, or do they narrow it down to 4 before the award show? I mean, because if anybody can submit, I mean, I'm down to pull in and submit the show. I mean,
tens of thousands. I think it's like.
John, if you made a
maybe
short
I'm pulling
film
it out
and, like, got
randomly,
the right
but it's like $30,000 or something.
I just found the total cost of like how much they make a year, and it's between 100 million and 500 million.
Who
does? The Oscars make.
Okay, so maybe I wasn't so crazy saying hundreds of thousands. So that's already this element that I'm like, okay, that's stupid. Like it's not even like the best of the best. Yeah. But then the award show happens, and it's just like there's this level of just like weirdness, inauthenticity. It's like rich people standing up on stage, like handing each other awards in my head. It's like, I don't know. And they try to, and that's what's so funny is when like political stuff kind of happens like that, like what you mentioned, like, oh, there's, the Associated Press or whatever it was, like had no like people of color.
Yeah.
It's like, do you guys care? You've all got $1 million. You're all handing each other little golden statues. Like,
so you're saying like, what does it really even mean?
I feel like we're being patronized as a public that knows what we like. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Here's what I say. Here's the problem I have with it. With the whole system is like, you're right, there's all this that goes into even potentially being even looked at and also like winning an award, and then there's also like this layer of Hollywood where becoming a Grammy nominated or even a Grammy winner or an Oscar nominated or Oscar winner, like that elevates your status when it comes to like casting or creating other movies, because people look at that and they're like, that's a big deal. Or does it not, or do you think it really doesn't matter, or should we throw all this to the wayside?
I'm definitely in that camp, but
the most recent, like within the last 10-15 years of movies, you don't see big summer blockbuster movies nominated for Academy Awards outside of like best sound design or best makeup or best, those kind of, like, it is amazing that within like the last 15 years that like Heath Ledger was like nominated and won for Dark Knight, and that's a superhero movie, and it's like you don't see that anymore. You don't see Star Wars, like you don't see those kind of bigger movies,
epic blockbusters.
Yeah, you get the best animated movies, and it's always Disney or Pixar or one of those, and it's like they made that separate category for them because it's like,
So that's kind of the other thing too. It's always like the one that wins Best Picture, if we're still talking about the Oscars, in my opinion, is always like they want to pick something that seems like smart. You know what I mean? Like Parasite won, and it was great. Like I loved that movie. That was a great movie, like they always want to pick a movie that's kind of like makes the Academy seem like
it's almost like they pick movies that that wouldn't get the attention outside of the Oscars.
Yeah, I feel like it's pushing their agenda for the year.
Yeah,
it's like,
it totally is.
Which I mean, it makes sense because it's like it's their platform. They're gonna do what represents them. But I wonder how true it is to like what they're actually doing behind the scenes. Like if they're pushing this foreign film, like I don't know if it reflects like the same brand that they're trying to put out like behind the scenes. Like are they investing in, you know,
I mean, apparently not. I mean,
in foreign filmmaking,
yeah.
like I don't know, it just seems like it seems a little like virtue signaling.
It's all
like,
in my
this
opinion,
is us, when it's really
totally.
not them.
It's all political, and it's all like it is
and,
that.
Okay, so you know what confuses me about specifically the Golden Globes this year is that Amy Poehler and Tina Fey are the hosts. They roast the
Hollywood Foreign Press.
Yeah, the Hollywood Foreign Press like the entire time. But then it's like, so if you're the host,
yep.
like, why are you hosting for them if you're going to roast them? Like, in reality,
like
why are you agreeing to do it? Like, are you doing it because you feel like, oh, I can make a difference by roasting them? Or are you doing it because you're getting paid? Yeah. I don't know. It just was kind of weird
to
me.
act like you're now self-aware. Like,
yeah, you're doing anything to stop what they're doing.
Sides,
yeah,
you know?
totally. It totally is.
I always feel like there's kind of a, like, a catch-22 in those situations. Because, I think it was pretty evident, too, where, like, there was a controversy about, I think it was the Oscars or whatever, a long time ago, when they were going to have Kevin Hart host, and then, like, somebody drudged up some, like, old tweets.
Yeah.
There was some homophobic tweets that he tweeted, like, literally 7 to 9 years ago. It was like, that's how long ago it was.
Yeah.
And then the Oscars, like, I'm saying Oscars, it could not be the Oscars. The Oscars asked him to apologize publicly.
I think it was the Golden Globes.
Yeah,
Golden Globes.
Again. And he was like, I'm not going to apologize again. He's like, I've already apologized. That's like the old me. Like we have to enable growth. And so I think in that same vein of like, if you don't host, like who will?
Well, that was the year they didn't have a host, right? It was just people presenting.
Oh, that's right. They eliminated the host position altogether.
So there you go.
But yeah, I mean, but I always said I think it's hard because like when you turn down a gig in solidarity, like somebody else is going to pick up that gig. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's either you do it and you say like speak your mind, like Tina and why do I keep
Amy?
Why do I keep forgetting Amy?
Amy Poehler.
Tina and Amy, like they picked it up and they spoke their mind, where they could have passed in solidarity, and somebody else could have come that maybe didn't necessarily believe they were doing anything wrong, and just like played it up, like did the host gig normal.
So,
I don't know.
I guess what confuses me is like, what's the intention of the Hollywood Foreign Press? Like, why do they continually hire hosts that actively roast them? Like they had
controversy.
They had what was his name? Who did the
Ricky
British
Gervais?
Office? Yeah, Ricky Gervais.
Oh,
he did it for like 3 years in a row or something.
He tore it apart. It was fantastic.
Was hilarious.
I see that. I love that.
I think what confuses me about it, it's like why would they want that? Because people are talking about it.
That's what it is.
Because they don't
it's
care.
this level of self.
Yeah,
it's that same thing, like self-awareness, where it's like, oh, we're just like you guys. Like we also think Hollywood sucks. When it's like, no, that's you. We're talking about you, Hollywood.
So maybe it is like. By joking around about it, like, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
They downplay it.
They're downplaying it, so they're able to continue doing the dirty things that they're doing.
I think it's also like
doing those dirty things.
You like as like someone in that industry who like may have grown up with like going to the movies and having this idealized version of Hollywood and everything. You still hope that like it's going to be that when you get there and when you're a part of it and you're like, I could change it and I could do it, and it's like. I'm sure, like, there's that little piece of it, too, still. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just...
But then you just become part of the machine when you get there.
Right.
You're like, whatever. I don't know, right? So, all of that to say is now this year, they have the audacity to do the awards show with... like, phoned in people on Zoom.
Okay, that's
how dare you?
That's what was so ironic to me about the entire thing is that it's the industry made for film and television. And they're still using the rudimentary Zoom platform in order to have their show. It's like, why can't you just pre-record with some 8K or whatever, the like red cameras, the equipment that you actually have. Like, why can't you just use that to record their acceptance speech?
Well, yeah, and it's like, it's I mean, I guess there probably is some element of like surprise of who's going to win, but the reality is like couldn't this have just been the 1 year where they pre-tape?
Tell them, or even if you even want to go with the surprise, have everybody pre-record their speeches. Because really,
can you imagine?
They all wrote them anyways.
They all
either way,
like they all try to act like, oh, I'm so surprised, but part of you is like, I have to prepare. If I win this award.
I wonder.
I don't know.
couldn't imagine like I said earlier, it's like you work like 10 years, 20, like however long to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the 1 year where you got to do it on Zoom. And it's like...
It broke my heart, honestly. For a couple of people, I was like, this sucks. Like, why are you even doing this?
I saw Jason Sudeikis was wearing a hoodie.
Oh, my God.
I saw that on the Today Show.
That just captured it all.
Also, did you heir about, who was it? He was in the Dumb and Dumber. What's his name?
Yes. Let me get there. Jeff
Daniels. Jeff Daniels.
Uh-huh.
I saw somebody make a joke like Jeff Daniels is in the door section of Home Depot because the room he was in had like 3 doors, and they're like, "Why are there so many doors?"
And he was like dressed like
him?
a farmer, right? He had like a flannel on. Yeah.
Perfect.
This is so funny. I thought it was. I will say. I am disappointed. Like, it should have been pre-taped. It should have been better, and there should have been some consistency, because that was the other thing. People were like, some people were wearing tux and dresses like they normally would, and some people were literally just like in a t-shirt in their living room.
There's a couple people in their pajamas. I was like, really?
Which,
like, why?
I almost respect. I'm like, yeah, okay, but then just bring the whole vibe like down.
Yeah,
like
that's what
make it so that it's not
a big deal, but that's the whole thing. It's all pomp and circumstance.
And they're trying to still hold on to that.
But that's what's so funny is that, like, if you're gonna do it, do it. Like, don't make it this half,
because it's
award ceremony.
In my opinion, it's a means of. It always comes back to the class war for me. It's a means of it's othering the like Hollywood from the audience. It's like, it's
distancing themselves.
Yes, totally. And so it's like that. So they exactly what you said. They can continue, whatever, embezzling money or like casting people that they want because of and the people that win awards because of politics, like they get to do that while there's this veil here of like the Hollywood magic.
You know what was this is with that but a little bit different.
Yes.
You know what was interesting to me is that they had the frontline workers in their audience, right? And part of me was like, oh, that's cool, like that's awesome, great. But then another part of me was like, they're not doing that because they want the frontline workers in their audience. They're doing it because they think that's what we want, and they know they'll get in trouble if they don't have that. It's total virtue signaling. And I was like, that is so sad. Like, good for them, the people that were in the audience that got to watch the awards.
Of course,
ceremony.
but they're being used.
They're also watching it on a TV screen.
Yeah, like
we
were.
They're sitting in real life watching screens of these actors.
Right. Yeah, at least they got to see, like, I don't know, like, they got to see Amy Poehler, maybe, or Tina Fey, one or the other, because they weren't in the same room.
They were, like, super cut together, right?
Yeah, but I was like, I just think that's really upsetting because, like, it's not like they would have done that if there wasn't a pandemic. Like, you wouldn't do that on your own.
No, the question is, does the Golden Globes need to exist? Because I think, I personally don't see its value. Mm-hmm. I mean, what is it even supposed to recognize?
The Golden Globes in general or award shows in general?
No, the Golden Globes.
Okay.
I think there is a world and an element where, like, award shows, they kind of motivate and they kind of inspire, whether or not we like the people that are running them, like
pursuing excellence, like some degree.
Yeah, these musicians, they grow up like dreaming about getting a Grammy, and I think they should. I think that should be the aspiration. But I don't understand. Like, I get the EGOT ones, which is like Emmys, Grammys,
Oscar,
whatever. I those 4 I think should be our main ones, because those ones make sense to me. It's like movies, TV, music.
But then there's only there's only one frame of like what's good and what's bad.
That's true. Yeah, you won't have as many options. So like.
But what are the Golden Globes? Like what is its sole purpose?
It's just another.
Yeah, I don't know if
right?
I feel like the Golden Globes aren't.
Is that a different community?
To be different. Like, I feel like it's just the same as the Oscars or the Emmys.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like it's the same as... I totally that one's kind of pointless, but I see what you mean.
Yeah, I'm all for... like I said, if award shows have to happen, which I think there is something about, like, the motivation and kind of, like, the American spirit that's like, I want to grow up and I want to I want to be an Emmy, or I want to be an Oscar winner, right? And I think, just like we talked about last week with the astronauts and the NASA program, like, that has its source of like empowering people.
Sure.
And I think that, so there is a place for these shows, but like in my head I'm like, the Golden Globes.
Yeah,
who cares? Yeah. Like they should just stop.
I really just start to question like the institution that's putting it on. I'm like, okay, if this is like the highest achievement in film or like whatever, like this is what you're now, like, we've got this Zoom show.
Like,
I don't know.
it's just interesting, like, what we value as a society. Like,
we
put this on a pedestal. Like, why aren't we, like, we have the Olympics, that's sports, obviously we glorify sports, but like, why aren't we glorifying in the same way. It's not like people are watching the scientific achievement awards. You know, like why aren't we watching?
Yeah.
Why is this such a big deal?
Not really my speed.
No, I think it's good. Like John said, I think it's good to pursue excellence in art, and art should be, acknowledged for. I think that's
valued.
That's a good thing. Ultimately,
yeah.
I think the presentation that it's in currently, and who is giving out the awards.
Because that's the thing.
Full investigation. Let's do it.
If
just
with certain awards, like it will bolster someone's career too.
That's
so
true.
It's kind of within house, like within that business. It's like if a show wins a Tony, that means it will have a long touring life.
Right.
It'll be able to tour because we can say, this is our Tony Award winning show. With it won Best Actor.
This
it's
is
like you got to see
Hamilton
it
won
like
8 Tonys, right?
Yeah,
like
it
8 that year or something.
Maybe.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Because if you're going to a show that like didn't win any Tonys that year or something like that, it's like you're gonna be more likely to see the one that's like, this at least validates,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I think you're right. I mean, I think it's good. That was a good year because it kind of. I mean, honestly, I'm going to use a reference, and don't hate me, okay?
I want you to go for it.
And I'm using this in the sense that, this proved to me that, the system is good. I mean, in the sense that, it's not rigged. Like, elections. I always thought, growing up, I was like, it doesn't matter who you vote for. But, somebody's making that decision, and, your votes don't really matter. I used to grow up thinking that. And then, when Donald Trump won, I was like, no, this system actually does, your vote does matter, because I'm like, there's no way that
anybody picked him,
that the system chose him, and
the Illuminati
but that's what I'm saying. And so that's why in these award shows, when Hamilton does really well, it proves to me that the system is fair and true, because Hamilton should have won that. So if they only won 2 awards, it would have been like, okay, they're trying to give awards to a bunch of other things, and they don't want to to seem like there's a real huge front runner. But the fact that they won 8 awards, I'm like, okay, the system kind of works, the voting system.
I think if we really strip it down and it's used in the way that it should be used, instead of pumping movies that have big budgets or are connected to certain people in the industry. I think if they diversified the people who were actually choosing who wins and what movies and what TV shows win, that would make more sense to me.
But you wonder too, I brought up Parasite,
right.
Not to go totally cynical, but it's did that movie win, or is it more virtue signaling? They're like, yeah, this was an all, Asian cast.
I think it's virtue signaling if it's not genuine. If
like I said, I think that definitely, deserved to win. That was a fantastic movie.
Right.
But it's if it was close, were they yeah, let's go with that one because it shows representation in Hollywood.
And I think if the
I think there's an element of that.
I think if the people who were deciding it, if it wasn't all white old men who are,
it would be wouldn't be able to dispute it, but you kind of can when it's yeah.
Yeah, because there's ulterior motives, and
that's
it's clear. It's not we're just developing this.
Laden with ulterior
motives.
Right.
I think that a lot of these award shows are doing well. I don't think the Golden Globes is hitting the mark right now.
No.
In a lot of areas. And I think that this year was a culmination and kind of an example of they got to work on this stuff. Because if they're going to compete with the 4 other legendary award shows, I would say, then they have to change. They have to evolve.
Well, and like we said too, it's a hot freaking mess too. The Zoom situation. So I'm curious to see the rest of the year.
It's been one whole year, and no one has thought of something better. They couldn't figure it out. There are smart people in this world.
Well,
do like the Tonys did this year. Just don't do it until everything is open up, and
honestly,
then you can
I'd feel
go
better
back
about
to.
that.
I mean, what 2019
the
Tony
Tonys
Awards,
always recognizes new shows right from that year, don't they?
Yeah, it's always the shows that came in that season.
I mean, that's gnarly because it's they didn't have a season.
Right.
So they
I guess they didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
It would be 2 months.
I just figured out the solution. Okay.
Give it to us.
Now tell me if this is bad. Be honest. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Here's what I think. You take, instead of having it in this big arena, maybe you have you still have the host be in that arena, but right outside in the parking lot, there's no cars. I mean, let's be honest, no one's coming, right? You have all these category booths where a person who's nominated can come with their friends and family, and they have like a decent like booth, like this size almost. And there's like a high quality camera. It's wired into the system. It's not like wireless, so it's not bad connection.
Okay.
It's like a red camera. When the category,
Really nice camera.
When your category comes in, you and your family, you come in, you hang out, and then they show all the nominees in the same background, super like well lit, really well. And then the person who wins, like their camera becomes the main one, and they like won.
Wait, so cool. All the nominees are in one room?
No,
together?
they're in separate
booths.
cells.
I
like
love
they're
it.
in
You know what would
booths.
be cool?
Oh, okay.
I would like it if they had to pay for their own booth. So if you want to make it a cool looking booth, you can do that.
Oh yeah, like a designer.
Although
own
I
booth.
guess you would have Jason Sudeikis there in like a blank booth with like a full.
No, I'm saying
chair.
like really well sanitized, like the same. How many in a
little
category?
little
5?
filming pods.
Yeah, like little 5 pods. And every time a category goes, like they don't.
Step into the pod, and
You come in
between they're sanitizing them,
Those are
right?
thousands
Yeah,
and
that would be cool.
thousands of pods
That would
that
be
we're
cool.
talking about.
So then it's like, oh, you're on deck, you know, like.
Well,
come on in.
or maybe there's 2 sets of pods, so they can clean while the one
Even
category is
3.
coming.
I'm fine with 3
I feel
sets
like
of
that's.
pods.
I feel like that's not a bad idea, and they can afford that.
You know what I think is the solution?
What? Not having them.
Cancel
I know.
them all.
Yeah, I know.
Cancel them all.
But yeah, that was all the news about the Golden Globes. So
Well,
I don't
do
know.
you think the Kids' Choice Awards still?
I think
Pure.
that's the only pure
Okay.
award show left.
Because they have
Really?
slime.
Because
Isn't
they
that the one
slime
that
'em.
gives
They
away?
got
Oh, they give away the
slime.
blimps.
Nickelodeon,
I'm like,
the
who gives,
blimps.
who
And David
gives the
Dobrik one.
surfboards? Is that the?
The
Oh.
MTV, right? Or the no.
No, that's the Teen Choice
The-
Awards.
the Teen Choice
Oh,
Awards.
teen.
but
There's
the
the Kids' Choice and
Nickelodeon.
the
Kids'
Nickelodeon.
Oh,
Kids' Choice.
really? Oh, geez.
And the I want to get the astronaut,
Teen
the
Nick.
MTV award.
Yeah.
That one's the
That's
coolest.
cool.
Who was it that just posted on social media, and they were like, "I didn't know how many astronauts I had," and I was like,
Shut
"Weird
up.
flex."
Taylor Swift, probably.
Oh no, it was somebody's
was
boyfriend
like
pulled them all down. It was a female
MTV.
artist, and she like literally just posted. I mean, of course, I can't think about it.
It's just all her.
What was that?
Was it?
No, it wasn't Billie Eilish. She's too cool for that. It was
She probably
somebody.
got one of those.
It was somebody. Miley Cyrus, maybe. I don't know.
That would make sense.
It was somebody, and they're like, they pulled all the awards, like her boyfriend or whatever, like pulled all the awards down, and they had them like on the coffee table, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, look how many
So
Moon Men I
stupid.
have," and I was like, "You're the worst." I don't know. What does it all mean, right? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. Can I tell you my experience about Hollywood in the last week? Can I tell you about
You
that?
can.
Yeah.
You can absolutely.
Because I had a similar experience that kind of made me lose the magic of Hollywood. I auditioned with
Welcome.
my family for a game show that hasn't come out yet. It's super spotty, whatever.
Super underground.
I auditioned, and let me tell you, a game show audition. I always thought game shows were like especially family game shows, like Family Feud or whatever. It's not Family Feud, but I'll use that example. Like say Family Feud. I always thought like they just made sure you were like decent people and that you like you're like generally like upbeat and positive, and that's what. And then you came on the show, and that was it. It was like super authentic. Not at all.
Nope.
I auditioned, and it was like they interviewed all of us. They were basically making a film, like an edited film of our family to show to producers to see what they want us on the show.
What kind of questions were they?
Like, so it's a family show, and so they're all about like, this is a family, right? And it's so stupid. And so they asked like,
Right.
They asked like, what did you grow up doing together? And we're like, I don't know. Like we went beach camping like a couple times.
So who was all there?
It was me, my mom,
Yep.
Bobby, who's been on the show before, and my sister
Classic.
Beth.
Okay.
Because you can only do 4, and out of the 6 of us, we're like
The
who
most
are
charming.
who are the
Yeah.
performers, right? Not my dad and David. My dad and David are they're police officers, so they're like
So
inherently
they're
like,
defending the country somewhere.
Well,
Like,
yeah, they're like whatever.
They're not to be like, we're a family.
Man, they're like, we couldn't even get him to act
yeah, you
that out,
definitely
right?
picked the right for it.
And,
Yeah, okay.
and they asked us like questions like family, and then like the whole time the guy's like making us redo our answers because we didn't say it well enough.
Weren't spunky enough.
Well, yeah, and it's like what? And so by the end of it, so we do the interview for the first half, and then he's like, "What's your guys' angle? What's your guys' like? What's your family's angle?" And I'm like,
What's like
"What's my family's angle?"
Trying to get
Yeah.
the dirt on
So
the
they
Albright
chose
family.
they chose like teachers because like my brother's about to become a teacher, my sister's about to become a teacher, my mom's been a teacher for 32 years,
And you make podcasts.
and I'm a podcaster. But get this is the best
Yep.
part. I put podcaster on there.
Sure.
There's things I like to do.
Cool.
And they're like, just so you know, like we don't want people that are like close to the entertainment industry. So we don't want you to talk about your podcast or anything like that. And I'm like, this is the problem. Like this is a real
wait
problem.
a minute.
Like you're wearing
You had
your
a
What the
chance.
Podcast shirt.
Yeah, you had a
Underwear.
chance
You have
to
your
promote WTP.
I did. Oh, I tried. Well,
that's Hollywood.
Because that's free marketing.
And that's what's so frustrating is like in my opinion, one, there's two layers to this. Yeah. The authenticity piece. I think it's so frustrating. I was telling my brother afterwards, and because he could tell I was having a terrible time. I was putting it on, but like in between takes, I was like, "This is so stupid." And then we had to get this. We played. I'll do the whole thing, and then I'll talk about my problems with it.
Please.
We played a game, a mock game, right? Gosh. The game is like you start with a fruit, and you start with a food, and then the last letter of your food is what that they have to use for the next one, right? Okay. We all go down the line and around in a circle, right?
Wow, gotcha.
So we play the game. The guy literally has us choose our first options. So like basically scripts it. Goes like,
of course,
you're gonna say apple, you're gonna say eclair, you're gonna say like whatever, right? No way. And so then
how you think of eclair.
And we do it and we do it for 30 seconds. So we do the first 2 rounds are like authentic, and then it gets to like actually playing, and it like then we actually
drops
start
off.
Freaking out. We're like, what do I? We did it like 6 times until we got it right.
What?
Don't get it,
of course.
And I was like, and then here's the other thing: we did it in the studio. We didn't hear. And so, like, and we're also on Skype, and he's like,
"Oh, this was Skype."
Okay, I thought you went.
No, this is over Skype.
To
so
Burbank
here.
or something.
Sorry, no. This is the most frustrating part. They're creating a film to show to producers.
Yep.
Not to be used in the actual show. No. Because they're going to read you all that.
Yeah.
But they have an editor. They have an editor who edits the stuff he's recording, who then makes it into like a family film, like a pitch.
Cute.
And so we're in here, and there's. I leave the lights and cameras up like throughout the week. They don't ever really move.
Whatever.
And so he's like framing the frame, and he's like, "Can you? Oh, this needs to go. Can you slide this camera out?" So we're like tearing apart the studio, like moving things. And I'm like, and he's like, "Oh, cool albums. Those can stay." I'm like, thanks. I mean, like, what do you mean they can stay? And then
this is my house.
I was too tall, and they were trying to get the angle, but when they went too high, they like right up above it. You can't see it in any of the angles here, but there's like a paint line because I was painting the drywall when we did this roof right here.
Yes.
And I haven't had time to like I haven't re-edged the paint there, so there's like a little bit of like. What would you say, Ryan? Is that really that bad on a 1 to 10 scale?
About an inch.
It's not bad.
That's a 10 for sure.
Yeah. It's
10
not,
being good.
It's not super. It's not super noticeable, but he's like. Yeah, that paint's gonna be a problem.
Gonna have to go.
We're gonna have to, and he had me bend my knees, so I was shorter, so the framing worked for the whole game.
The whole time you were squatting.
I love the idea of like they went to other families, and it's like
yep.
If they live in like a little studio apartment, and it's like this is it.
Yeah,
like,
I know. That's my thing. Is like
okay, we'll call you.
Yeah.
See you later.
And what's so frustrating? I told Bobby at the end of it, I was like, it's frustrating that we have to pretend to be something we're not to resonate with people we don't know. Like you have to be fake
Hollywood,
on the show,
baby.
Yes.
That is. You guys talked about The Bachelor the other week.
Oh
Remember?
My gosh.
Oh, you're familiar with the show?
Yeah, could you imagine?
You listen? Thank you.
Anyway, this is Bachelor Night Take 2.
Please, John will have a hernia.
I literally can't. So I mean, I think the problem, like the whole thing, I kind of told my brother. We were talking about it afterwards, and I was like, I kind of wish we don't get on. Because like it's just like I don't get the point.
Because you're trying to be something that you don't even know what you have to be.
Yes.
Because it's not genuine, and so you're like, okay, I'm trying to act like a certain way to get on the show, but then like when you're on the show, you're like, I'm still like acting weird because I don't know what you want. Like,
and I just wish that there was like a shred of authenticity because if we get on the show and he said they're gonna do the same thing on the show. Like if they interview you and your answer's not good enough, they're going to literally cut and retake in front of like I don't know if there's gonna be a live audience or anything, but they're gonna like they're gonna make you do it in front of whoever's there. It's
that's the funniest part of like Let's Make a Deal. When they ask you like, oh, what do you do? And the person is like, oh, I work at like, they'll be like, oh, I work at like McDonald's, but they can't say McDonald's because they'll be have to like
industry or something.
Yeah, I'm a
a service worker.
Yeah, service worker. It's like you can't say the brand because
that's free marketing.
It's free
for them,
marketing.
Yeah.
Well, it's frustrating that I couldn't mention I'm a podcaster. I get like not mentioning the shows or whatever, but I can't even like say that I produce podcasts in my spare time. Like that's what's so frustrating is that there's
then they look you up and they go, oh,
it's the competition.
What podcast does he do?
It's like the competition aspect. It's like you're already a TV network. Yeah. Like no one's gonna click off your network and go, I'm gonna listen to Mirror Effect
for
the next
dude. Really?
You know how much an advertisement like probably cost them, or like they charge for an advertisement on one of those big networks.
Oh,
I don't know what the show was. You probably
I don't know either. It's a brand new one.
You sign a NDA. Can't say.
I don't know. Maybe. Who cares?
Can I tell you, Cara is probably so furious she's not on mic tonight because their family like fully auditions for like TV game
That's
shows
like their thing.
like all the time.
Wait, so Cara, am I? Do you agree with what I'm saying, or do you disagree?
Do you want to come over? Come over here.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Cara,
Swap out.
Philly.
Top out.
Because I need to know. Because maybe I'm being dramatic. I don't know. What do you think, Ryan? Before we get Cara on here,
I will tell you this. Our families, the Phillies and the Tafoyas, all
Yes.
went for an audition one time. Very similar to this,
Yes.
where we were playing a game, but the only difference was we were like in a big. Yeah, you can come on over.
Oh,
Yeah,
cross.
we were in like a big whatever, like in Burbank somewhere. We
Yeah.
all like drove up to LA. We were like with a bunch of other families. You remember the days before COVID when you were like with other people?
I barely.
And so it was like, just going down the line where it was the same thing. Okay, introduce yourselves. Hi, we're the Tafolla family. This is Dad. This is, what do you guys do? We're all whatever. Like, okay, you're going to play a game. It's like catchphrase. See what, like, they just had us like play catchphrase. And it's the exact same thing. They're like, okay, that was great. You're going to do it one more time, but you're going to be really animated this time. Pretend like you're at Disneyland. Like they're pumping you up to get something out of you or whatever.
It's like commercials. It's like,
the whole thing's a commercial, really, because it's
it's bubblegum.
Let's make a deal. The price is right. They're all just selling those products.
Yeah.
is the
So
thing.
Cara,
family
tell us.
loves it.
Cara, tell us
Tell
about
us.
it.
Okay, but
your family. So your family was on a game show.
Okay, so backstory. My mom gets emails from, she forwards them to me too. It's a guy who he comes out with like, he says, new game show alert. Here's the audition. So she probably got the email of what your family did, but she
Sure.
probably just glazed over it. So she gets that, and then she'll
Small
sign
potatoes.
us up. We get through it. When I was in high school, we were on Family Game Night, which was, it took all the Hasbro games like Monopoly,
Nice.
Connect 4, Bob,
Operation.
and it turned them into big versions of the game. And we ended up getting on, and we won a trip to Cancun. So that was cool.
It was a pretty cool show too.
Yeah.
I mean, they were running around like,
Hey, if you work the system, you can get to Cancun.
Yeah, I think the most we can win on this show is $100,000, which is a good amount of money.
well, meh.
The most.
Well, I mean, listen.
if you're into that kind of thing.
Here's what I'm telling you. It's a lot of money.
You're
And I'm not
spreading
trying
it
to-
out between 4 people, though.
I'm not trying to be ungrateful, but like, do you remember when we were kids? Like the standard of winnings on a show was
Who
like
wants to
$1
be a
million.
millionaire? Who
Yes,
wants to be a millionaire for sure.
And now it's like I don't. And what's so funny is like it's not like they've lost money. Like these shows haven't like decreased in budget. In my
I think you
opinion,
just got older and realized how much money costs.
They're like $1 million is a little too much.
Yeah.
But
I used to think $100 was like winning the lottery when I
Yeah.
was a kid. So
100%.
I'll tell you what though, you find $100 on the ground, that's like winning
That's a
the
good
lottery.
day. Still.
That's like
So
winning
what's your viewpoint on it? Because I need to
give
hear
it to
what
us,
your-
Cara. Tell us more about the behind the scenes of Family Game Night.
Well, let me tell you. I'll tell you about behind the scenes of Family Feud.
Oh,
You
I'll do
were on
that.
Family Feud.
We were
Oh,
supposed
gosh,
to be.
this is nonsense.
gosh.
My family hates me for it because I chose to go to Hawaii on the date that we were supposed to film.
Wow.
But I chose Hawaii.
look. I think you scapegoat pretty hard in this situation. Is all I'm gonna say. I think the cards weren't lining up. The people, honestly,
That's
the
true.
people you guys were in contact with Family Feud were so shoddy. They're like, okay, give us the dates you can. I'll drag Family Feud right now. I'm not even worried about it.
Oh my
Is
gosh.
that-
So it was
They
our
were like,
audition
give
day.
us your best days 6 months from now.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
was-
like,
it was weird.
okay.
It was the day that I
Friday?
graduated college. It was literally graduation day, and then we stayed in a hotel that night because the next morning we had our audition, and we had to like go in a room and we had to stand and we just had to say like our name, what we did, and like a catchphrase. And there was a cardboard cutout of Steve Harvey next to us.
Oh my god. That's so good.
And they were like, okay, so you're gonna all stand in a line. We're all in a straight line, and we're gonna pan the camera like down, just like zoom in on your face. We're gonna go down everybody, and we all just had to be crazy and hilarious because when you're on the show,
and charming.
what I remember about Family Feud is that when they're filming, because it was in front of a live audience, your goofiness comes out anyways. I remember not trying. I remember being so nervous and excited that I just ended up being goofy anyways.
Yeah.
And it was the same kind of thing. Like they tried to do, like John said, like the narrative, right? Like, oh, what is your
What's
like
your family's
family
pitch? What's your family's hook? Or
like
whatever?
it was like
catchphrase. What was your catchphrase?
Yeah, well, that's good.
Oh, I don't
Whammy.
even remember.
No way. What?
Well, it was like,
Whammy.
but on the other show, it was like, oh, my dad, the singing cop, right? Wasn't
oh,
that
yeah.
the thing?
On Family
No,
Game
literally-
Night, it was like, our dad is the singing cop.
He's a
That's how I
cop,
said
but
it,
he's
yeah.
and he like sang or something on the show, right?
Yeah.
Am I
Oh.
exaggerating?
No, no, no.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm pretty sure our like video, because they did the same thing where they
Yeah.
like cut together like videos of us, and then we had to send in like old footage of us. So it was me in it being like, we're the Phillies, because I was the one
I'm
introducing
a
us.
cheerleader. I'm in theater.
Yeah, I was
right?
like, I like to dance. I do
my
theater.
gosh, I
I
love
also
this.
said that I trapezed, which I did for a certain part of my life. And
It's
they
okay,
ended up,
you
I
went for a
literally-
day.
What?
then they
It's
ended
okay.
up
I
giving
remember.
us a gift card.
What I sold was
But-
that I'm a musician, and that's like about 30% true. So
Like I got that cool
That's generous.
beard.
it's generous. Yeah, it's probably.
Thirty-
I'll send
You're
our
right.
intro video to you for.
Listen,
Yeah.
I get the strategy of that though, because you watch any reality show, any game show, you're rooting for the people that you can pinpoint. It's like on American Idol, you're like, I'm rooting for this one with the, very sad backstory. It's
Like-
always like the ones with like
I'm rooting for the guy
checkered
that
past.
dresses like a cowboy.
Yeah.
There's always a cowboy.
Or like
right?
you're watching Bachelor, you're like, I'm not voting for the crazy one, or I'm not
Yeah.
voting for
Ooh,
the
Side
she's
note for the Bachelor, really
crazy.
quick.
Yeah.
I think your theory about Rachel winning is pretty
Should have
good.
put some money on it because
Because
it's getting too.
I have
it's
a
getting-
second theory actually.
I
Oh.
did the follow up because I was looking through the news this morning trying to
Mm-hmm.
like think about things we could talk about, and that's when I came across the Golden Globes thing. But there was an article about what's his name? The
Chris
host.
Harrison?
Chris Harrison and the whole Rachel thing,
Mm-hmm.
and now she's in the top 4 as I understand.
Yeah,
I think it's the
top
top-
3. I thought.
I think
Jeez.
it's isn't it done
Hometown?
next
Yeah,
week?
top
or
three,
Hometown
top three.
episode.
something? Hometown Heroes.
Hometown Heroes, and I really think she's gonna win now.
Just
Well,
saying.
okay, I think she. I have
I don't
a
watch,
feeling,
though.
based
I'm not
on
a
what they
betting man,
showed
but-
us, I have a feeling she. Well, I have a feeling she turns him down at
What?
the end because it shows him crying, and it seems like he likes her the most, like based on their chemistry.
This is the problem with the show.
But no, wait.
She's a
I'm sorry. Let me develop my theory a little bit
Go
more.
ahead, go ahead.
So I think that she turns him down. Like she says, I have to leave because she gets jealous that he is sleeping with other women, which like
That-
understandable.
Has
Oh,
that
how
been an
dare
issue?
you.
But she's
Jealous.
also on the show.
She's the other woman
Yeah,
to
well,
someone else.
But
Wait,
I
has
think
that-
she's
has
not
that
the
been an
first
issue for
woman.
her, though?
I think she's not the first woman because they do it in sequential order. So it's like,
Oh,
okay,
you mean
this girl goes first, then second.
relations.
And so you're like, okay, I know that I'm the last date, so that means things could have happened before my date. So I think things happen before her date.
You're
and
really
she's
on
like,
that show and you're worried about that? I mean,
Yeah.
there's
I mean-
literally
That's what I'm
30
saying.
women.
I mean, when
You
you're
know
on
what
the show
happens-
for 2 full
they
months,
have a whole week called
you're in
Fantasy
it.
Suites.
Yeah, that's
Where
true.
it's like, hey,
We know
they're
what
gonna
happens
go
in those
off
suites.
in
It
a hotel
happens-
room and
you know what? It happens
have a
more,
fantasy.
more often than you
Have a
think.
fantasy.
People
Just
flip
saying.
out. People are like, I think, like, there was a girl earlier on Pilot Pete's season, and
Mm-hmm.
she was like, I don't want, like, I'm going to tell him ahead of
Oh
time,
my
I don't feel
gosh.
comfortable if he sleeps with the other women on the show. I'm just going to say, I'm going to tell him,
he's
and
like,
then if he does,
guess
I'm
who's
not going
going first?
Yeah, yeah. The producers did it intentionally because then he slept
Totally.
with the other women, and
Yep.
she was like, okay, I have to leave. Like, I don't want to stay on the show anymore.
because
It's like, what? Why? You set yourself up.
human
like,
beings are
um,
not meant to be
Yeah.
pulled apart
Luke
that way.
P.
Yep.
in Hannah B's season
Yes.
when he's like
Another
an
great
expert.
example. Yes.
Whoa.
Got you.
Oh my God.
Uh,
Wow. Good
yeah.
to be here with Bachelor producer.
season vet. Yeah. No, he like full on like, and he uses like the Bible against her because of all that.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, do you
she's
remember
like,
that?
I am my own person, and
Whoa.
like you can get out of here,
Leave.
bud.
By the way, thanks, Cara, for your input on the game
Thank
show.
you, Cara.
Very nice.
I
stuff.
appreciate it.
Speaking
Cara,
of,
we're gonna hope for your Family Feud day. It'll come eventually.
And I'm gonna hope that I don't get on the game show I auditioned for because I'm telling you right now, I was so I think maybe the glamour, the idea of being on TV, kind of enticed me more as a child. I think it's kind of worn off.
Yeah.
I'm gonna level with you, John. I think you're going to get it. I think your family's gonna get on the show, but I think that's gonna work for us.
Yeah, you think so?
I think.
You think Dax is
I
gonna
think-
ask me? Oh, I mean,
What-
you think?
Oh, shoot!
oh
that's all you get.
my god.
There goes your NDA. I'm just saying,
I'm
like
done now.
last minute, you could
Anyone
be like,
could be named that.
anyways,
Yeah, it's
WTP, like fully just like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
pump
yeah.
the
like
yeah.
show.
get a little tat
Except-
right here,
They can edit him
a
out.
little logo. Oh, well.
They can edit out that end. You have to do it sporadically throughout the episode. Just at random times, like flash, like a tattoo. You have a.
I think so.
You'll say what really loud, and then the in a conversation. And then
why does he keep emphasizing these words?
Roll back the tape. Roll back the tape.
I think the long game will happen. I think if anybody's that interested, I don't know how much they're gonna let me. I mean, this is just kind of getting the door. I think like once we get in the door, there might be a way for me to like talk about podcasting or whatever, because it is like a big part of like
big if true.
Talk about how it's connected to your family and your past.
I'll really work it in.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't sound very fun to me. Again, all this to say, like I remember growing up and thinking like, oh, being on TV is so cool. Like, like that's how you become famous. And now I'm like, I guess because of the podcast medium and like everything changing over the last couple of years, I just don't see much like value. Like if that's what TV is, like that doesn't like keep me like, that doesn't like help my passion for
things
media.
that were so accessible to us, or that weren't accessible to us like 10-20 years ago. Like we're doing a podcast, which is like,
right,
you know,
it goes to the internet.
It's true.
Tell you
goes
what,
straight to the internet.
Speaking of games,
go ahead. Oh wow.
Have a game for everyone to play. Are you ready?
Ready.
If you choose to accept this mission,
Oh my gosh.
blink twice. Blink, 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 blink. I think that's everybody. Okay.
This is the best part about having Tyler on, is he like jumps into the bit so hard, like without even missing a beat. He's like, ready.
I know what family this is.
Let's play
The haves and the have-nots.
Yay!
All right.
I'm excited.
Thank you.
Let's go.
How does this game work?
So this is a game called The Haves and the Have-Nots. I'm going to say a statement, and if you have done this thing, you're going to give a thumbs up. If you have not, you're going to give a thumbs down.
I'm kind of nervous. I'm going to be honest with you.
Should I say I'm thumbs upping too because it's a podcast?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Well, we will know because you'll have to explain it.
you
Right?
will have
okay.
to you will have to explain yourself.
You're right.
But hey, good looking out for our non-video
Yes.
our non-video people.
Just thinking of
Yeah,
the viewers.
shout out to them. Alrighty. The first statement. Traveled out of the country. Have or have not?
Have.
Have.
All right, let's go around.
All right, good game, everybody. Super fun.
Ryan, where'd you travel to?
Out of the country, Mexico, Puerto Vallarta,
And
I've been. Oh,
and Cabo
Cabo
San
San
Lucas.
I did.
and
Where else?
San
Tijuana.
Felipe.
Oh, San Felipe too. We've been to Mexico a couple times. That's about it.
I've been to a couple places in Mexico, and I've also been to Guatemala.
Wow.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yep, same. Mexico, beach camp.
Oh, same as you
San
guys are.
Felipe.
You guys are.
We all,
family.
yeah.
But we
We're
haven't been to
siblings.
Europe yet.
Anybody
That's one I wanna go
in
to.
your family been somewhere that the rest of you haven't?
Our dad went to Alaska one time.
That's not out of the country though.
Should
But
be.
yes.
Feels like it.
I don't
Anyways,
think so.
all right, there
I
you
went to
go.
Jersey
Out of the
once,
country.
But
What's next? Level 2.
Level 2. Broken a bone.
yes.
Never.
Have not.
Oh, actually, I think I have.
You think
you
you have?
I
Don't
kicked-
you feel like you would know?
I
if you
kicked
had?
the crap out of my toe one time on the edge of the bed, and my entire foot was purple. So I think it was just like my pinky toe caught the corner, and it was like.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if
Wouldn't
pretty
it
sure
be
it's broken.
loose? Wouldn't it be loose?
It was like going that
It's
way.
like dangling.
Blech.
Did you get any medical attention
No.
for that? You just kind of
It
thought
was just like
oh, it'll be
purple.
fine.
I was like, whatever. Like,
What have you broken?
It was the summer before first grade.
Oh,
I was
tough year.
Yeah. Wow. Those kids. I was standing up on a swing, like swinging, and I fell and I broke my left arm and had to do surgery and the bolts and all of that. And
Yikes.
I got it off and had to go through physical therapy. But it was only like once or twice. And then they said, oh, he's good. He's just going to be double jointed in his arm. So like I can't raise my arm straight. So it's like
Just
bends
Automatically
the
goes.
opposite
Really?
way. Yeah.
Whoa, wait.
So I was like, I would do theater, and they'd be like, raise your arms, and I'd be like, boom.
Oh my gosh.
So it's
Whoa. That is a lot.
yeah, there's like a full.
Oh my gosh.
little
Wow.
little divot.
That's a good story. Yikes.
Pretty crazy.
It's more than you're getting into.
What
today.
what's the benefit of being double jointed, I wonder?
That. Cool trick.
Freak your friends out?
Cool trick.
I think.
Could you reach? I mean, I guess.
Oh yeah, a certain angle. If you like.
Certain angle of a pipe
under
you
your
could reach
bed.
into.
I love
Yeah.
you're always looking on the bright
Ingenuity.
side.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Hey, but what is the benefit of breaking your arm when you're a first grader?
I would have friends in high school like pretend to like sit on my arm by accident, and it'd be like, ah.
Oh really? Oh, it's
Oh,
a
that's
bit.
cool. That's
a
good bit.
See, benefit.
Ready for the bed.
Always
Go ahead.
entertaining.
Sorry. Next, level 3.
Next, level 3. Eating a bug.
Never.
Never.
Guaranteed.
Have.
Yes.
What have you eaten?
They had like those
fair.
That's disgust.
maggot like snacks. You know how it was like
wait. You just tried to sell
Maggots.
They do. It's like deep,
You know how
not
it's
deep
like-
fried, but like
they have like
freeze dried or whatever.
It's like a cricket in a lollipop.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever
In a
seen
candy,
those?
yeah.
Yeah. Except it was. I can't even think about it. It was cheese, like Cheeto
Cheese flavored. Yeah. Tastes like popcorn
little
or whatever.
maggots.
Yeah.
Was it a dare? What was the content?
No,
Yeah.
I was just following the crowd.
Feeling spooky.
Wow.
People around me,
Ooh.
Ryan was eating them, and I was like, okay.
I led the march on that one.
That does not surprise me about you.
He wanted to eat a bug. What'd you eat, Ryan? Cricket?
Same thing.
I thought you had
I
a
was there same day.
grasshopper or something gross.
Oh, yeah.
Like a French
or like
onion.
mealworms, I think,
Where
too.
was this? Was it at the fair or was it
Yeah.
No. We were camping. Or no, I don't know.
like
We
what's
were
like
hanging out
Julian or
with,
something?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Do we have a level 4? I don't even
Level
know.
4.
Level 4.
Lost something that you borrowed from somebody else.
I'm sure I did at some
I don't
point.
think I ever have. I don't think I have.
I don't think I have either.
I have a funny story though.
Okay.
I mean, it's not funny.
Okay.
But I used to one of these cameras actually. It's now mine, but it used to be my grandfather's. Like I used to borrow it whenever I needed to do like video projects or whatever.
Oh no.
And he just gave me the camera bag and it had everything in it, and I would borrow it, and then I always would return it back with everything because I knew it was a big deal. Because there were other family members that have like had returned it, things broken, and so he was very protective about it. So I always made sure I never always returned it with everything it had. And then one time he like texted me and he's like, the camera battery and the charger are missing. He's like, you brought it back without it. And I was like,
shoot.
I was like, I don't think I did that. Like, I really don't think so, right? But I told him, I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'll buy you a new one, of course. And of course, he didn't. He's like, no, you don't have to buy me a new one. But he's like, I just was wondering if you knew where it was or if you had accidentally forgotten it somewhere. And I was so sure I didn't lose it, right?
Yeah.
Well, recently, not to bring the mood down, but my grandma passed away and my grandpa moved out of his house. So we were cleaning out of his house, right? And they're going through the soap drawer in the bathroom.
Whoa.
And in the back of the drawer, the camera battery with the charger.
What?
And what it
the
was,
soap drawer.
what we think it was, is like at the time that this was happening, my grandma had Alzheimer's. So we think my
okay.
grandma like picked it up, didn't really know what it was, put
Yeah.
it in the because if you look at it,
Kinda
it's
looks like
kind
soap.
of like it has a bar of soap like feature. Of course, it's not like the same
Square.
feel, but it's like square and it's like the similar size, and the other
Yeah.
ones are in the drawer, and we think she just put it in there. So that I mean, I've
so
never done
funny.
it, but I was like, I know I did, and then sure enough, found it later, and he didn't care.
Incredible.
Wow.
Did you feel vindicated? That's gotta feel good.
No,
like, yeah,
because
you're right.
I don't think it wasn't like vindication, because in the moment I was like, I could see myself like just forgetting to unplug it or plugging it in somewhere weird and forgetting about it.
Right.
So I knew there was a possibility, but I just in the back of my head I was like, no, I'm really careful with this stuff
You
because
saw
of
that,
all
you're
this
like,
stuff.
this is part of my past now.
This is part of my past. No, and it's great.
I've
now
made
I
peace
have
with that.
now I have like a bunch of chargers, so it's great.
Wow.
Well, there you go.
All right.
Level 5.
Met or seen a celebrity?
No.
What's up?
Yes.
You guys see a bunch of celebrities.
You've never seen one, John? I feel
don't
like
think
that's
so.
a you thing, no?
I don't think I've seen or met one.
Ryan?
Any of no? I mean, did you meet anyone at your what's it called situation? Your commercial audition or commercial audition?
Oh no.
Your game
Dax.
show.
Did you see Dax?
No, I don't think I've met any.
It's a long night, folks.
I've literally never. I don't think I've met anyone. No. Well, who have you met?
Didn't meet him. I saw Chris Pratt on the Walk of
What?
Fame. Yeah, sure did.
Wow.
I talked to you about how I'd walk, down Hollywood Boulevard to school every day.
Yeah.
When I was going to MI, and every other week or whatever, they'd have these presentations for the stars on the boulevard. They'd be like, "Oh, somebody's getting a new star, Chris Pratt," and so it's like other famous people are there. Like, "Oh, we're present." It's like a little presentation right there on the street.
Yeah.
Anyways, I saw him. I saw Ice Cube got his star. I saw Kevin Hart gave it to him. He was like, "Yeah, this dude's the best."
You met the band's Cage the Elephant, right?
Met Cage the Elephant.
Whoa.
Yeah, those dudes were
Dave
on
Grohl
drugs.
or
Didn't meet
something?
Dave Grohl.
Oh,
I think we would.
Ben Scheuer. That was a
lot.
fun one.
wow.
Tyler, who have you met?
I've got a couple of favorite ones.
A couple of favorites.
I'm over here like really scouring my brain.
Yeah.
It's just because they're very special to me.
Yeah.
Drake Bell came up to me at Disneyland once and complimented my sweater.
Oh my god.
Because it was Christmas time at
Did
the
you
time.
give it to him?
I should have. He had his
Here, have it.
he had a cast on though because he had like broken his arm at the point, but he's like always at Disneyland supposedly, like that's his place
Allegedly.
but
Something
he came
there.
up to me because I was wearing like a Christmas sweater because it was Christmas time. He's like, "Hey, cool sweater, man." And I was like, "Hey, can we take a picture?" He's like, "Yeah."
That's a
so
pretty
is that
good
one?
Drake Bell.
Thank you.
That was pretty
I
good.
never
Wow.
thought that it'd be so simple. Ready?
Level 6. Oh, he's still going.
No,
There's-
I still have
There's the
one.
second one.
Fine.
Me and my dad were working this event that happened to be in New York, and all the SNL cast was there.
Oh wow.
It was like them and Jimmy Fallon and Lorne Michaels and them. So got to
Same.
meet a few of them, and then I got to meet
Kyle Mooney.
Cal Mooney, who I knew him mostly from the movie Brigsby Bear, which it was like an independent film that he starred in, I think wrote. But I like took a picture. I was like, "Hey, thank you for Brigsby Bear." He was like, "Oh my gosh, thank you. No one remembers that one. Thank you, man." I was like, it was just like, it was cool, like that. Just like, they're human, but it's like, like
True.
like the compliments that they don't always get.
Yeah.
It's like he was like, "Oh, that really meant something to him." Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
but
awesome.
That's cool.
Awesome.
You know.
He's like,
You saw-
everyone asked me about Brigsby.
Yeah.
Oh my
God, that
Another
old
one.
movie.
That old thing. Yeah.
You saw BJ Novak and Mindy Kaling one time, right?
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
I would die.
I
would
my.
collapse.
I was
to the
coming
ground.
out of
I
I was seeing La La Land with a friend, and we were in the parking structure, and we saw them. And we're like, "Is that?" Like we said, like, and we said, like, "Hey," and they were like, peace out, and they left.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, it must be so
A lot of
exhausting to
those
be a
sightings,
celebrity.
I mean,
we saw
could
Pete
you
Holmes
imagine?
crossing the street. You know that guy, Pete Holmes, the
Oh, yeah,
comedian?
yeah.
We saw him crossing the
Oh.
street coming
Yeah.
home one time. I was like, "Are you Pete Holmes?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "I love you, man." And he goes, "Thanks." Remember that?
I
Yeah.
love
He goes,
you, man.
"Oh, thanks." And just kept like walking.
Such
Wow.
a
It
weird.
must be so exhausting.
weird life.
Olivia, tell us a couple of yours quick, and then we're
yes,
going
yes,
to.
yes, quick. I worked
sorry.
at Comic-Con one year with
Oh,
Cara,
yeah, same.
and we were like checking in people at the door, and then when you weren't working, you could like walk around Comic-Con, and so Chapter 2 just came out, and Bill Hader was signing autographs like at a table and with the whole cast. I literally cried. I like started crying. I was like, I don't know what's happening to me. Like, it's incredible because at one point we were like an opening, like there were so many people around it, and there's
Yeah.
like a gate, like a fence and security guards.
Like you
so,
were
like,
getting in there, but
yeah. And so there was like an opening between like security guards and people, and we were like, oh my gosh, like he
Get
can
in
see us,
there.
we can see him. And then he was like signing autographs, and we were talking. I was like, oh my gosh, he's like a Bill Hader bot, like he looks like a robot. And he looked up at us and waved and smiled. We were like, oh my gosh, it was pretty cool.
wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean,
Level, what level were you?
Level 6.
level 7.
Level 7.
Thrown up in public.
Yes.
Have.
Yeah. Level 8.
Cheated on a test.
That's for the after hours.
Yeah, that's the after hours.
Oh yeah. Cheat on test.
Cheated
Well,
on
mine's
a
not bad.
test?
I just cheated on a
Oh,
test.
no. Go ahead. You want to tell us about
No,
your
we're
throwing
moved
up?
on.
Okay.
No, that's the after hours.
I have.
Cheated on a test.
Yeah,
Yes.
constantly.
Yep. Okay.
Yes.
I have.
Does anybody want to
What
talk
test?
about?
I've got a good one.
Go ahead.
So, it was in elementary school. It was like 4th or 5th grade.
Mhm.
I remember this one specifically because it's funny. It was like we grew up in private Christian elementary school, and one of the classes was like a Bible class where you learn verses and stuff.
No
like
way. You cheated on a Bible class.
Bible
And-
test.
And it's like,
and
what
we have
is
to
wrong?
like
Cheated.
write out the verse. Like
Yeah.
John 3:16.
Yikes.
And it's like I didn't know whatever So I had this strip of paper and I just put it like in the desk, like where you could like put your buttons and stuff like that.
Whoa.
Oh snap!
Did you get caught?
Oh yeah.
Mine's a little more high tech. I used my Apple Watch at the time.
Did you?
Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised. I'm surprised I never.
It was
did
in
something
college
like
though, so
that. Oh wow.
who cares?
My
Yeah,
AirPod.
It doesn't really matter.
Your single
Yeah,
AirPod
college,
in
they
your
don't
ear,
care.
like
Someone's talking to me outside the classroom.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. There was a class at my
Shut
school.
up.
No, I'm not kidding. There was a class at my school. I didn't do this, but
Oh yeah.
You
Okay.
could-
Well,
right.
disclaimer.
I'm just
I
a
didn't do
good
this.
kid. No,
I
there
was a
was
good kid.
a class where you could listen to music, and apparently, like, people would record, like, A, number 2,
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There's a class you could listen to music.
while taking the test. Apparently,
It's like they don't know kids.
no, but I cheated on
Number
my
8.
spelling
Oh,
test
she's
because
still
I
going.
wasn't good at spelling, and so they had like the cardboard.
Dog.
Did you guys
Oh
ever
yeah,
have
you
those
write
like,
them in there. Yeah.
dividers things? I
A,
just would lean
N,
back. And look, there was a kid named Xander that I was friends with, and he was a really good speller. So I would lean back
Expose
to see
him.
his.
Shout out to you, Xander.
It was in.
Thanks, Xander. He's
third-
probably off winning a Nobel Peace Prize
second
now.
grade.
He won
Yeah.
a Golden Globe.
Honestly,
on.
where is
Dak Shepard's game show.
Yeah.
where is it?
Number 8.
Number
The
8.
final round.
Have you ever blamed a fart on somebody else?
Yeah.
All the time.
100%.
I've had people blame
Tyler,
farts
you did
on
not
me.
have to. You did not have to tell me that.
Any stories specifically?
One time I blamed a fart on someone else.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't remember
right?
anything specific,
Not like a
but I
specific
mean,
story?
no, nothing embarrassing. I mean,
No.
it's always been like my siblings. Like you just like, I don't think I've ever like blamed it on somebody I didn't know very well.
Yeah.
Could you imagine to be like,
In public.
My friend did that in class one time. She blamed like a kid who would like I don't know, he was like stinky or he would
Oh my
fart a lot.
God.
stinky?
And so
I
she
hate
was
that
like,
word. Oh,
and she was like, "Oh my gosh, Brandon!" I don't know what his name was, but she was
Yeah.
like, "Brandon," because so like kids started
Oh.
talking like in the class, like it
Oh.
smells bad. She was like, "Brandon."
ew, that's so rough.
Yeah, kind
Poor
of sad.
Brandon. That was
Poor
our
Brandon.
first installment of.
The haves and the have
The
nots.
haves and the have-nots.
Nots.
I think we'll
Wow.
come up with better music because
I like
I
the
don't.
music.
No, I like
Is
the
it
music
too
a lot.
spacey for you?
The haves and the have-nots.
I love it.
Hey guys, you know what we didn't do this episode?
Just plug it.
Poddex.
Poddex.
Ooh.
Use
Didn't
the
do it this
code
week.
WTP to get 10% off your next order of Poddex. We'll do a quick one.
Nice.
I mean, we're not going to not do it.
Okay, I guess.
Do you want a TikTok?
We'll do
it.
it. Look,
TikTok.
if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, okay.
Easy.
What would it be?
Right there.
Anybody?
Hot chicken. Nashville hot chicken.
Oh, yum.
California burritos.
Really? Sushi for me.
Soup plantation.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
The full variety.
A buffet of every
Wow,
food.
Yeah.
it's a real miracle on that one, huh? Anyways, let's do the TikToks, huh?
TikTok really
TikTok
fast.
time.
TikTok.
It's a TikTok.
And then we're outta here.
Ooh.
Ryan and John react.
That's the name of the segment.
That's the name of the
Thank
segment. Here we
you.
go.
Oh,
Oh.
this already looks funny.
It's gonna be good.
External headphones.
External headphones.
There
we
she
go.
is.
Oh,
Hit it.
goes.
It's you I like. It's not the things you wear. It's not the way you do your hair. But it's
Mr. Robbins?
you I like.
Yeah, Mr. Rogers.
Mr.
way-
Rogers? Wait,
Mr. Robbins.
wow, that was cute.
That was
Always a
pretty
cat.
cute,
Speed
right?
him in
I
Did you
there.
guys
that
watch
song.
Mr. Robbins? That was a great show.
Mr. Robbins. I know. I
Tell me your car is clean without telling me your car's clean.
Whoa. Okay,
Nice.
for the audio listeners, first of all,
Go to YouTube.
I appreciate you downloading
Why don't
it.
you just
Let's
pop on over to
slide on
YouTube?
over. Write down your time.
You're gonna want to watch the video. For
That
this
was a
one,
car.
folks.
It was a. You know, I can't explain it. Just keep going.
You're good. I actually have 4 this week, so.
That's how somebody gets
Oh.
I
hurt.
saw this one this week.
Wow.
Somebody gets hurt that way. Mainly the goldfish.
Dude, that fish is dead for sure.
Where's
Are you
my
kidding me?
There's no way.
Shaking it up like that? That thing's dead.
It is funny though. It's a funny premise.
here we
I'm
go.
not gonna lie.
Okay, this one might make you cry. Oh.
I'm scared.
What's in here? The Avengers 2. A good coach can change a game. A great coach can change a life.
Look at the other side.
Thanks, buddy.
Hold on, he's got a little note he wrote you. He wants to read it.
Dear Coach Richard, you have been the greatest coach of my life. I love you, Richard. I want you to show me your game. You helped me love football again. Thank you for being my favorite coach, Richard.
Dad, I can't.
I wouldn't up here because I'm a big crybaby. So.
This is too much.
God.
Wow.
That is the most wholesome thing.
I am crushed. Anyways, thanks so much, Tyler, for being on this episode.
Yes, thanks for having me, guys.
This is not the last time. Oh, gosh.
One more?
Always.
This one, we always play this one. It never gets old. I'm not going to lie to you.
Oh, my goodness.
But thanks so much. Go ahead and close us out.
Thank you.
John, I want you to do the close this week.
Thanks so much for watching What the Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at What the Podcast 2020. And use our promo code WTP on poddex.com.
WTP.
Thanks again, Tyler, and we'll see you all next week
on
What the Podcast.
So stupid.